Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a fantastic episode of our Go Modes podcast Mentor Tournament 2001 of Link to the Past. We are in the brackets of third round with MrAaronSnerd fighting against Couch 23. And I do believe this is which game is this, if I'm not mistaken. But let's worry about that later. I am your not your co-commentator. I am the commentator, as for Hubb, and along with me for the ride, who will be helping me in the commentator booth today, we will have Mr. Ben. How you doing, Mr. Ben?
We're all co-commentators. We're all co-humans on this beautiful blue and green marble, spinning through space, playing video games very quickly. I believe this is match 2 between these two runners. Couch 23 took game 1, so MrAaronSnerd is fighting for his tournament life here today.
And with that, they're going under the I like to call this the opening handshake rule set for the seed, which is standard items. It's an open setting, meaning you can start from either Sanctuary or Link's Home. Randomized swords, defeat Ganon, 7 to get into Ganon's tower, and 7 to make Ganon vulnerable. And of course, well, this is the Golden Sword bracket, so we know our runners have quite a bit earned themselves some pretty good prestige to get up into this bracket in the Mentor tournament. So let's see what they have learned so far.
Yep, Couch 23, one of the tip-top runners in this particular tournament, came out of the Swiss rounds undefeated. And I could be recalling incorrectly. I'm pretty sure MrAaronSnerd came in 5-1 with that one loss coming from Couch. So it's a bit of a grudge match.
Yeah, good Top Gear players gonna probably fire on all cylinders at the very start of the match. So yeah, this is, if you want to see some high octane speedrunning action, please have your expectations set up to maximum for this one.
And we did go live just a little bit early. We've got about 4 minutes to kill, according to race time, before these runners should get going here.
Yeah, that's correct. In order to help legitimize each of these speed runs between our two runners, there is a 10-minute delay between them, so there will be no stream sniping of the sort. There's also, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember something, but I've kind of forgotten off the tip of my tongue mentioning that.
Yep, as I understand it, there was a bit of a kerfuffle about last year's record, which led to the implementation of that stream delay in brackets. You wouldn't think in the learning tournament of all places people would be tempted to cheat, but I say that, but having been a mentor in this tournament and knowing that the other person is just one click away, I get the temptation. Like, let's just not make it easy for people.
Plus, if you make it easy, you're only cheating yourself. And that is out of a very good experience of being a good runner.
Absolutely. And the racing community seems to have kind of settled on that 10-minute delay as the right balance between anti-cheating measures and convenience. For a while, different tournaments were flirting with, 20-minute delays, and that starts to get pretty rough. That's a big time commitment, just tacking on that extra 20 minutes on either end of stream delay before you can go about the rest of your day. So 10 minutes seems to be about the sweet spot there.
Yeah, it's all about fine-tuning the rules at this point. So I feel like we got them down perfect to a T at this point, so we don't have to worry about any illegitimate means of things happening. I mean, worst case scenario, you may end up hearing it here and there, but let's not dwell on it so much. I do have something to mention, and that is how they're going to start, because they don't have a sure sword, so it may not be a good idea for them to do Uncle, but we can always see Uncle being the go-to first move for one of these two runners, while the other do Sanctuary. There's not much of a divergence, but it will allow us to see a little bit more of the map being revealed to us as they go through these checks to see which item will give them their progression, or which one of them will give them complete junk.
Yep, I'm a big fan in these open randomized swords. I like the Sank start. I like heading through Lost Woods, heading straight to Village, hoping to find bombs. You can always save and quit back to Link's house and farm them in the from the bushes south of the Grove if you need to. But it's, there's nothing wrong with that. Uncle start, get those easy 2 items straight away, and it's a gamble, but it can pay off just like anything else.
Yep. But as they always say, I have always put it, whenever these speed runs are happening, nothing is guaranteed. Every decision you make will always be a gamble, because we don't really know what we can get from out of all these. Like last time, I remember seeing vanilla hookshot in his vanilla big key chest, and that made me feel really disgusted.
Anything at all can and does happen.
But yeah, harking back on to how they would start off, I'm more of an uncle route kind of fella. I usually take the uncle route first, like get the first chest from Link's home, grab the sign on the way into Hyrule Castle, bonk the blue guard, and check for tree just to see if we can get something. Usually, tree pools are very useful information to get very early in the game. It could be tier 1, could always be like a pair of bombs, like a set of bombs, arrows, or 20 rupees. If it's 20 rupees, then you should be feeling very happy about that, because you don't have to worry about being short on change when you go to Kakariko Village to get the bombs. But seems like we're underway now as we get 2 different openings.
Yep, getting that nice early divergence with Aaron over here doing the uncle route, Couch starting off in Sank. And to answer a question in chat, there are, according to the official rules document, there will be no ties in this tournament. If the racers finish within 2 seconds of one another, that triggers a manual retiming by the admins to see who actually won, but they will go frame by frame if they need to.
And if that does not give does that give the definite answer for them? Or if it still looks like a tie, do they have to re-race it?
According to the rules document, new for 2021, if the runners finish within 2 seconds of each other, a VOD review will be conducted to determine who finished first. So there is no provision in the rules for re-racing and none for ties. If it comes down to a judge's call, that's what will happen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm glad they kind of changed that up a little bit.
Now, would I like to be the person in a race that close who's responsible for declaring a winner? No, but I'm just here behind the microphone.
But yeah, to answer, well, funny, yeah, Lumaga already answered this, but yeah, I was one of those runners who actually ended up tying with Souls. It was a pretty fun romp, to be honest, when I did my dive into this Nintendo tournament.
And we're seeing just a bug net there in Lost Woods. Not a whole lot to get excited about right now. I missed what was on Lumberjacks. Pasutarami in chat saying looked like a red boomerang.
Yeah, I'll have to agree. It was definitely a red boomerang on that Lumberjack ledge. So AGA 1 may not be required, but who is to say that this seed guarantees that AGA 1 is not required if Lumberjack didn't have your progression item needed to finish the seed? It could be your only gateway entry into getting into Dark World at this point, for all we know. And that's if we come across the lantern, as we get 10 arrows, 10 more arrows, a couple of bombs, and just a moon pearl as our first 4 items check into the Kakariko Village in Wyman's Hut, as we get a fully functional sword too. And I'm just starting to sweat bullets here. I don't think I'm ready for this, because if we come across Lantern and some gloves, and perhaps, you know, or a cape or another sword. This could, and just, you know, just the worst things we can find.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we are 2 items away from Dark World access in either direction, so not too much call to be sweating too hard about Agassides quite yet. And there's a hammer, so all we need is a glove, and there's our Dark World access through the more ordinary fashion.
Yeah, that's a sight for sore eyes. Hammer is always a very useful item to get because, like you said, not only that it opens up Dark World, but guess what? You know what's next door to us? The blacksmiths. What's in that pit next to the blacksmith? Magic bat. And I do remember them picking up the magic powder, so that's another check that they can get out the way, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. Couch heading back into Blind's hut to farm up enough rupees to go to the bottle merchant there.
And he's gonna be really sad when he go ahead and use 100 rupees to get 10 arrows.
Well, it doesn't feel good when you've spent that time, but it feels better than leaving that check behind. Of course, couldn't have known that there would be $300 there in Chicken Hut.
Yeah, exactly. A check that you can get out the way right now is a check right off your mind. Well, free of your mind as worrying about should you just gamble on passing up or not.
Yeah, both runners have given us a map check at this point. We've got crystals in Eastern and Hera and a green pendant in Desert Palace. It's always interesting to see that green pendant show up in a dungeon that's otherwise pretty light on checks, just lending a little bit of extra value. And it looks like both of our runners had that same game knowledge that you did, which is that we are open for an early batter check.
Yeah, so usually in this kind of situation, when you get items like this paired up together, it never hurts to just check things along the way that's like that. Also, if y'all was paying attention to Couch before all this transpired, he was doing some magic powder tomfoolery there.
Yep, little known fact, that little old lady sweeping her front step, that's a fairy in disguise.
Yeah, not much we got from Magic Bat, so we're going to go ahead and do our last 2 checks of Kakariko Village, which is the library, which gives us our flippers, which means boots may be required in this situation, because Swamp Palace may be a crystal. And we get 5 rupees on the maze race, so we're not going to worry about that.
Yep, those flippers and hence the boots are almost certain to be logically required, unless both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace wind up being the last 2 pendants.
Yeah, that is true, but the thing is, with the great thing about if Ice Palace was a crystal, you could just fake flipper into it. You don't have to really worry about logic. You can do a little bit of speed runner degeneracy is what I like to call it, and just skip the process of getting that. But if it really is pointing towards boots being in logic because of flippers, because of crystal, being in Ice Palace or Swamp Palace, you want to find those boots as soon as possible, because that means your opponent may be looking for those and found those sooner than you could.
And meanwhile, Couch has gone and gotten those couple of uncle checks we've already seen on Aaron's side, but with a sword in hand, it looks like he's intending to go ahead and head into the front of Escape as well.
Not much of a time variance doing it in this way, because you can always run into the castle like this. I guess with it being along the way, you save like a few seconds at most.
Yeah, it's a couple of screen transitions, because if Aaron decides to do the same thing, he'll have to walk up a couple of screens from Link's house. So it's a little bit of time, but not too terribly concerning over the course of, a 90-minute to 2-hour run.
Yeah. And another thing that we need to think about is anything in the Escape that's going to give them progression. As we pull up a piece of heart for our first chest here, not much yet.
Yep. Meanwhile, the mini Moldorm cave has a master sword and a few pieces of heart, $20. That master sword does take us one step closer. All it would take is lamp now to open up Dark World access through Aga.
Now here's the fun, well, not the fun quiz, but perhaps the million rupee question. If you end up in this state, in this pacing, or at this very state of the seed, and you find
if you find a vanilla lamp right there, no, that's the boomerang chest, but a French vanilla lamp right there, and thus, well, Couch hasn't found the Master Sword yet, so he cannot do Aga until he does South Shore, fortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you end up finding all the needed items to do Aga right now, would you go ahead and do that, or would you hold off on doing that and doing other checks instead to see if you can get boots? I mean, not boots, but see if you can get gauntlets.
I personally, I would at least do Sage's Closet. That's 3 checks right there. You save so much time if you're able to get your Dark World access there. I think you've got to at least do that. But that's just me. I'm a filthy coward. What do I know?
You know what? I understand it. I understand that notion, because it's really hard to tell if you really need to do Aga 1 at this stage. Like, some people will just go ahead and bite the bullet and did it. And I remember at that point when I was doing that, that was during my my league races, and I got into a situation where Aga 1 was already could be doable, and I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and do it. Only to find out that both gauntlets was in Death Mountain, and I didn't really need to do all of that to begin with.
And just a bunch of Valentines there in the Sage's Closet. Aaron's walking out. Looks like he might be heading into that Eastern dip.
Eastern, not a huge offender as far as double dipping offenses goes, because you can easily clear this dungeon back and front without much issue. But what I noticed there from a couch in the Dark Cross room was the ice rod, if I'm not mistaken. It looked a little bit blue there. I couldn't tell from the screen. But if Turtle Rock is in play, how long do you think it'll take for MrAaron to catch on to doing Escape to do Dark Cross?
Well, we've it looks like that was kind of the goods when it comes to what's hiding in Escape. Nothing in the back, not going to be required for Dark World access. So it really depends. If he finds his Dark World access right here in Eastern, it might be a while before he makes his way back there.
Yeah, that could be the worrying issue. You do have the means to go into the castle, dip into it to, at the very least, finish Dark Cross, especially when you get the lantern. So I wonder when will be the moment as we look into the next set of chests in the Eastern Palace and only get 20 rupees. I do believe that's item number 1.
Yeah, in that case, it's almost better for Aaron if this does wind up being an Aga seed, because that will funnel him into Escape before, you've got to do that before doing Aga, even if you had all of the pieces for an Aga play beforehand.
And I do believe the best part about this is that since he has the Master Sword and Couch is on his way to get it, he will be able to route in the castle tower a lot neater after he does escape.
Yep. I do notice that Couch is going out of his way, seeing himself very close to having 500 for Zora. He has been going out of his way to pick up rupees along the way. He might be considering a fake flipper play. Out of logic, but again, you only have to find one out of logic glove to skip that whole castle sequence.
Let's hope his desire to break the logic will pay off in the next few screens when he gets to Ice Cave and then go through the due process of going into the Zora domain fake flippering. Good thing about this though, he could check Waterfall Fairy thanks to the fact that he has the Moon Pearl. Yeah, with the weird fake flippering state that you're in, if you go into the Waterfall Fairy and exit back out, it will put you into a water walk state thanks to the moon pearl state, and it will allow you to pick up those 2 chests there as well.
Yep, so that's 3 checks that he'll be able to make 4 because of Hobo. So that's 4 chances to pick up an out of logic glove.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it a little bit hard if he does Hobo first? Isn't it a little bit hard to re-enter the lake fake flippering from that point?
It does require a different setup, which you do have to learn, and it is possible to screw up that setup and go ahead and soft lock yourself. And the moment of truth has hit Aaron. He just picked up his lamp, already has the Master Sword, so he's gonna reach a decision point here.
I feel like because Aaron already went through Eastern Palace and did not come across gloves whatsoever, and he's already here, he may end up taking an intentional death here to warp out and then go ahead and finish up the rest of Hyrule Castle by going to the Castle Tower.
Yep, he's gonna get and yep, he is indeed taking that death warp. Can't imagine that he won't go ahead and head into Dark Cross and grab that ice rod, get to the back of Escape. But after finding nothing, it's making that Aga play, or it's saving and quitting and heading all the way to Agina. So at that point, the Aga play is very much the density play. It's very much the safe play. It gets you into Pod. It gets you to Hype Cave. It opens up a lot more checks.
Yeah, I agree. So, and if our runners are playing density wise, this will be the wise decision. The only way this, playing density wise is a gamble, but definitely makes you feel a lot better doing it because there's a lot of checks that you can do, and that's one way of taking it away from it logically.
Yeah, and I think the greater gamble would be taking the long, slow walk all the way to Agina for 1 check, and then walking all the way back from Link's house into the Castle Tower, if that, as seems likely, does turn out to be what's hiding progression.
Yep. And it all depends on when our runners are going to get to that point, because it looks like Aaron is going to set himself up for another death warp here from the looks of it, because he just hit himself with the bomb. He has 3 hearts left, so he may end up taking a death warp in order to... Oh, wait, nope, he's saving and quitting. Okay.
Yep, it looks like he's going to leave no stone unturned before committing to that Aga play. He is going to walk all the way down to Agina. Galaxy brain move if it pays off, but the odds are against it.
That is true, but everything as far as gambling goes, with this potentially being the huge payout that he'll need to get a leg ahead of the couch, I feel like he's feeling very confident of doing this very early in the seed to, at the very least, set the pacing. And it looks like Couch 23 is making their way towards Hyrule Castle once more. So they're looking to place their bets on going into Castle Tower to finish it up to get to Dark World with their Castle Tower access, as we get 20 rupees from Agina's Cave. Yeah, not the one thing you want to see right now, but he could go ahead and break logic, but it doesn't look like he's going to right now. Looks like both runners are looking to play nice with the seed logic today.
Yeah, I feel like if you're wanting to do that fake flipper logic break after Ice Rod Cave is the time to do it. If you've already opted against it at this point, it's a real rough ask to reverse that decision this late in the day.
Yeah, it looks like both of our runners is going to run through the castle tower to get to Agena to get their access of the dark world. And hopefully we'll see where our pendants and crystals are at in the dark world for the rest of the seed and see if our runners plan around them from there. But now here's a fun question. How many blue balls do you think our Aga going to fire today in this climb?
Oh, let's make it a nice Aga. No blue balls.
I'm not sure if we could put up predictions up. I would like to think that I think it's gonna be like 2. I feel like it's gonna be an even number today.
And I just timed it. Looks like Aaron is running about 30 seconds behind at this point. So certainly not an insurmountable lead by any means over on Couch's side. But with Couch being in the lead at all and already having a W under his belt, it's not the most comfortable feeling for an Aaron fan. But lots of game left to play.
Yeah, we're still 19 minutes into the seed, and we're already doing Aga 1 of all things, if you'd like to believe it or not. So I feel like the seed is pretty generous as far as giving us the tail signs of, oh, we need to do Aga 1 already. So might as well get this out the way instead of just gambling off of holding off on it and checking every other thing under the sun, even if it means breaking the logic.
Couch waiting through the cutscene, about to head into his wizard fight.
She's gonna watch Aga do a magic trick.
Couch is in the mood for some swag stats, pulling out the bug net. But he's just goofing with us.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to stay focused on this. Oh, there we go. He took a swing, but ends up taking some damage. He probably didn't properly set himself up with it. But yeah, there goes 2 blue balls right there. Looks like Agena is just... He's going to be a little bit rude. There's 3. And there is our mandatory Thunderbolt spell as we get a guaranteed blue orb. Well, guarantee orb to reflect with this one after that.
Yep, that first attack in each cycle is always a guaranteed reflectable orb. After that, it's a 50-50 chance of orb or blue ball. But that is seeded, so both of our runners will have the same patterns to deal with. No chance of any RNG-related advantages or disadvantages here.
Unless one of them dies. Then it becomes random. But yeah, down goes Aga, and I believe that was 3.
I believe you are correct. Couch is going to be showing us some new checks here. Still looking for that glove. Always a little awkward to have that late glove in a seed. And Couch is going to pick up that $50 off of the pyramid, probably thinking I'm likely to have to spend the 110 to get into pod in short order here. I want to make sure to save that 500 for Zora if that winds up being necessary.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to take the quick dive to Hype Cave thanks to the fact that they have the hammer. So I feel like that's a no-brainer decision, to be honest. Just go to Hype Cave immediately. There's additional checks you can do there. Plus, you can always check the bottom part of the other area too while you're at it, if you really feel inclined to do so.
Yeah, I tend to agree with no bow having yet revealed itself. You want to go ahead and put off pod for the moment. There's just about as many checks here, but a lot closer together. But was that a bottle that I saw in Hype Cave? Yep, our eagle-eyed tracker Link to the Past Ken confirming that. So that opens up one extra check in Cac Village. But not the answer we're looking for, as Aaron beelining straight for pod.
Looks like he is going to make the bold move of just diving into it without a bow and arrow. He feels like the item density well, not the item density, but perhaps the location of being able to just get some of this out the way because you have hammer already and see what you can open up with. But
yeah, he may be feeling a little behind after that gambly play to Agina did not pay off. Maybe feeling like he needs to roll the dice again. And we know it's probably not going to hurt him. Couch has found that bottle and some blue mail on Stumpy for some convenience, but no progression yet.
Yeah, that blue man will come in handy now that they have access to the Dark World, as Dark World does a lot of damage in green mail. Not a good feeling to go through. As Couch is doing some digging, gonna hopefully dig up for some more spare change. Get it?
Change is good. What's also good is that Aaron has found that Pod is not bow locked today. That first chest did have a small key, so he's going to be able to head a little deeper here. Just $50 in the did game.
Looks like the save and quit there means they're probably going to check out some of the other areas in the Dark World, mainly probably Catfish, and probably going into the Palace of Darkness, because as we saw, he's not bow locked, so they could probably do some things there.
Yep, that Catfish, unless I'm reading the logic wrong, is about his only other option besides Pod at this point.
Oh wait, you know what? He can't do Catfish because it's glove locked.
Oh, you're right.
Which is what we need to begin with at all this time. Meanwhile, we pulled up MrAaron pulled up a mirror and immediately used it so he can go ahead and get back to the start of this dungeon. I'm pretty sure he feels very elated that he came across the mirror this early.
Yep, doesn't do too much else for him at this point. It's going to make routing this dungeon a little easier. Also opens up Cave 45, which if that winds up being the answer, then he'll have saved a bunch of backtracking by heading to Pod first.
Looks like he's opening up the Dark Maze's bombable wall. May end up considering going into there as we pull up another key in the chest. That could be the only key there, but let's see what we get in the basement. If there's no keys here, then we do know that the boss may have a key, as well as the Bowlock room having a key as well. Or it could be both keys are in the locked rooms that has a key in it. All right, Pod can't have key on boss. What am I thinking? Excuse me.
Key logic is weird and hard, and I don't like it.
Almost as hard as math when you think about it. But yeah, MrAaron is going on ahead into the Dark Maze.
Yep. And and boots in here.
We got them boots.
Now, speaking of key logic, one could, were one so inclined. Well, no, I take that back. Yeah, I believe this is all still in logic.
Yeah, this is all in logic. As far as the scene dictates, none of them have now the surprising thing that I realized is that none of them didn't do the potion logic glitch. Like I was expecting one of them to go into the potion merchant to get a potion to initiate that glitch, but decided not to do that. Probably took way more time to do that just to get to those two other chests.
Yeah, only Couch had the option because MrAaronSnerd has not yet found that bottle there in Hype Cave. But even then, that is a lot of time to dedicate to an out-of-logic check. But meanwhile, did mine eyes deceive me, or did Aaron, so excited to head into this library and grab these boots-locked flippers, just run right past Bonk Rocks there?
Yes, he did. He didn't think of anything else, but he saved and quit, so I'm guessing he just remembered. Or not.
Yep, and as Vextopher and our lovely Restreamer in chat points out, might have been the better option to go ahead and do Hype Cave first and mirror to that after taking the South Dark World route.
Maybe he picked up the memo because it looks like he may be running towards there soon. But with the flippers, that does mean he have access to go into the actually wait, no he doesn't, does he? Because I'm trying to think, does he have access to go into the west side of Dark World? Does he?
Well, he has that No, the flippers only take you from west to east, but not the other way around.
Okay.
But it does open up the flipper checks, hobo, all that stuff that he could have sequence braked earlier is now in logic, including the big scam fish himself.
Now the fun question is, does he do that before he does the South Dark World parts? Because he's gonna miss out on his blue mail a little bit early. A little bit more if he does. Oh, it doesn't look like he's going to abandon that idea, which is good because, you know, K45 is still a thing that he's hoping for the mirror that will lead him to it. Oh no, please don't jinx our run saying Swamp Palace has our Swamp Palace has our
I mean,
okay, theoretically though, yes, it could.
You've got everything you need to get in there. You can't get the hookshot locked stuff, but
which is basically like what, 3 chests and a boss. And this is the yeah. Wait, Swamp Palace? Did they do a check yet on Swamp Palace? I mean, not Swamp Palace, but did they do a map check yet?
I know we did see a Dark World map check, but it was a while ago, and I do not recall what it was. All right, K45 not going to hold the answer here today.
Yep, Couch got his flippers, so now he's going to go on ahead and Mr. Arn's going back into the light world. I think he's going to... Where is he going?
And there's the glove. There's a glove on Hylia Island at the moment.
Further further cementing that you had to do AGA 1 for it. And Bottle Kid gave us 20 rupees, so that was not the answer. It looks like Mr. Arn is going to go ahead and check Bonk Rocks from the looks of it. He isn't. He did came out of Sanctuary, so he could be heading towards there.
Yep, looks like he's realized his mistake and is heading to correct it.
Well, he gets a shield for his troubles. Hopefully he doesn't have to come across 2 more shields. Well, the 3rd shield. Let's put it that way.
And it looks like, I believe it was only Couch who checked Lumberjack earlier, so Aaron's about to go ahead and blind pull Lumberjack and be disappointed with what he finds.
Meanwhile, Waterfall Fairy giving us a tempered sword and a green bottle potion. So that's a welcome addition to the arsenal.
And it looks like our eagle-eyed tracker filling in some of the Dark World prizes here. Ice Palace and Turtle Rock are going to be our other two pendants. But of course, we could have guessed that about Turtle Rock, considering that we found that early ice rod.
Meanwhile, we are scammed by the catfish. Well, not catfish. We are scammed by Zora, so we don't have to really. I guess we don't have to worry about that since that checks out the way, I suppose. But it looks like Aaron is going to do the fun way about it. Now that the. Actually, no, they couldn't be able to get through there, even if they tried, could they?
Yeah, Aaron seems maybe a little lost here because yes, you can bypass that last rock, but not this one.
Not that one. Can't stop the rock. The rock can't stop the rock.
Yep, and it looks like Couch is about to face the same unfortunate realization. Couch, you know where your glove is. You just gotta go get it, bud.
Go get your glove.
And this is why I say these late glove seeds can be real disorienting because you're used to having a glove by this point. This is the sort of thing that you run into once and you realize everything you knew was wrong.
Oh dear me. I'm guessing Mr. Arn is gonna go ahead and do his hobo check and then saving and quitting. So he can go right ahead and do the Dark World entry through the castle to be able to get his glove now that he finally scouted that out. But oh dear me. I mean, it could be worse. It could be missing their hammer, and that would do numbers on people's, like on runners' mind early in the stage. It's like they keep thinking that they have the hammer and just quickly forget it.
So it looks like Aaron is making the same mistake that Couch made earlier. Gonna go ahead and leave that glove behind for the moment. Check this flipper stuff when you could just as easily route it together with Catfish if you had the presence of mind to grab the glove earlier. But
but yeah, it looks like Couch is taking the opportunity to go into. He may be doing Death Mountain with him doing Bonk Rocks at this point, which makes a lot of sense because it allows him to check into Tower of Terror because that's a red crystal, as well as check out the east side of Death Mountain thanks to the fact that they have Mirror and Hammer.
Yep, chat having a spirited debate on the relative merits of Mountain versus Thieves Town area at this point. Either way you go, there's going to be a crystal in the offing. Personally, I would have leaned towards Village of Outcasts area. Hope to maybe find that something like a Titan's Mitt before committing to a mountain climb. But there are definitely pros and cons to either.
Yep, that is true. But I feel like I'm more of a Thieves Town as well, because once you get into the Dark World through that way from Kakariko Village, I usually have the tendency to check the first set of chests in Skull Woods first, checking Bumper Cave, and then going into Village of Outcasts to do those checks there.
Yep, of course, it could always go the other way if say the Fire Rod winds up being on the mountain and you can go ahead and clear Skull Woods during your first trip to that side of the Dark World.
Yeah, that is true.
As Aaron picks up his glove, Couch pretty definitively in the lead at this point, although still early days. That could definitely flip.
Yep, going in through the fun, intricate areas of the Tower of Hair. Unfortunately, they do not have the hook shot in this point, so they can't really do hair pot clip. So it looks like they're going to have to do some coffee break at this point. So it's no big deal. More likely than not, if I was his opponent, I probably would have to do the same thing. So it's not a huge time loss. Just got to take a moment to take a break here and let the iframes kick in.
Yep, but meanwhile, we've got a big point of divergence here. Aaron has decided that the Village of Outcasts area is going to be his next move. So this is a decision that can make or break a race. Let's see which gamble pays off for which runner here.
Well, it depends on which progression we find and if it's huge, in my personal opinion, because it feels like both of them, while Couch does have the lead, they are clearing dungeons in the same sort of pace. But the only way this could get worse if Deathmount does have Fire Rod. I'll put it that way. As we get our big key from the coffee break room, as it's French Vanilla location. Well, not French Vanilla, the Vanilla location. Excuse me. And it looks like MrAaron is opting in and doing Thieves Town first to see if they can come across their progression and finishing up this dungeon.
Yep, it's always nice to have that hammer in hand before heading into Thieves Town the first time. No worries about orphaning an item. It's going to be fully clearable, 4 items plus that crystal. So you got to do it sooner or later. Might as well be now.
Meanwhile, Couch 23 doing an impressive bomb jump over across the big chest to get the bee in the bottle and bonking back out over the pit. This excellent display of knowing your knowledge of how you can bomb jump.
And as a display of good eyesight and situational awareness, Link to the Past Ken, our eagle-eyed tracker, pointing out, Couch also found the Titan's mitts there in Hera, so it's looking like the mountain play is going to be the play to make today.
Titan's Mint opens up quite a bit more areas. It allows you to do the blacksmith chain check. It opens up Ice Palace as well. You also get a few other areas where it's kind of hard to access that you can get into very easily. Easy to get into Dark World from Kakariko Village. And if they do end up finding the flute, they could go into Misery Mire, but they some that I almost forgot to mention, they can also do Dark World Eastside Death Mountain. So that's even more checks.
Yeah, that's the big prize right now is Super Bunny Cave plus the first chest of Hookshot Cave is what Titan's Mitzel will get right now. Gonna need for Ice Palace access, you're gonna need either Fire Rod or Bombos, which we haven't seen yet. But with Ice Palace being a pendant, you're sort of hoping not to get access to that if you can avoid it.
And something tells me a pendant dungeon is going to be required in this run. Something just tells me it's going to be that. Though I could be completely wrong. I will hope for this seed to just say, no, you're completely wrong in that regard. Couch going into the wrong door. Remember, right makes light.
I like it. And he's about to head to one of the most check-dense areas here on the mountain, the Paradox Cave, and there's a bow straight away.
That opens up Pod and Eastern. He can double finish that in one fell swoop now, despite having to dip into Eastern and Pod. Though, to be honest, those were mandatory dips, to be honest. Well, Pod, to be honest.
Yeah, the Eastern dip not required, and that was Bombos, so there's Ice Palace if you feel like heading independent dungeons, but we like to say ABCD, always be clearing crystal dungeons, and with Eastern and Pod both completable thanks to that bow, those would be the obvious next move from here.
Yeah, a lot of huge items in the mountain so far. Couch is pulling ahead in the lead as far as item progression goes. The only fault that I can think of is happening is if Couch started tracing our MrAaronSnerd steps and end up coming with no dice after all that while Arnon is catching up. And that could be the case sometimes, maybe not, but we'll find out soon enough once they finish with all these Dark World checks. Though granted, they did have the bow, so they'll be most likely going to Eastern Pod after this.
Yeah, the only thing that would make that any quicker would be Flute to get there a little quicker, but that's a minor time save. You have everything you need to clear both of them, plus the mirror to route them together. Hard to justify doing much else.
And for our pendant Turtle Rock, we have the Ether medallion needed in order to enter in it. So we're not gonna be worrying about that for now. I mean, worst case scenario, we may be forced to go in there, but I think at this point it's safe to say I don't really think any items locked behind pedestal required to go into Turtle Rock unless Laser Bridge has something, which I would not be surprised if it has anything of our last bit of progression to go into go mode.
Couch having a little bit of trouble with his dash turns there, finally gets it just for a trio of bombs. As Aaron is heading into the front of Skull Woods here.
He's going to take the time to get to this one chest here. And that's our Ether medallion. So there's our entry. Part one of our entry into Turtle Rock.
Yep, you can get inside, but you're not going to do much while you're in there without that red cane.
And even then, with the red cane, you still need the fire rod to progress deeper into it, unless the small key is within the first chest, on the left side of the first room of the dungeon. So yeah, it's gonna be a hot mess. Just saying, I'm well prepared for it.
And it looks like Couch is indeed going to head into that Eastern Pod area. Looking at our item trackers, still a little ways from go mode here. We're going to need a fire rod for Skull Woods at some point. We're going to need that hook shot in order to complete Swamp Palace. We're going to need that red cane and a flute to get into Misery Mire, plus potentially Quake to get into Misery Mire.
And that depends on what is our entry for Misery Mire. It could be Bombos, it could be Ether, or it could just be Quake, as you said it, as we get a mirror, not a mirror, but a bumper ledge check from MrAaron, and that is going to be their shield. So they're going to pass that up so they don't have to worry about that dreaded buttery yellow shield that they have to pick up later on in the seed.
And Couch giving us our first look at the bow-locked side of Pod. I believe, logically, it has to be a small and a big key. And then there'll be an item on Helmasaur.
Yep.
As well as potentially an item in Big Chest, which of course we haven't seen yet, with that big key being unobtainable until this point.
That does leave something to be questioned here. Do you do boss first before big key, or do you go ahead and do big key before boss?
I think you definitely do boss first. You're right here. It's not going to cost you any time. I have not been keeping track of the whereabouts of the map or compass. It's but if by process of elimination you can tell that big chest is skippable, then better to just skip it. You're not going to be able to skip Helmasaur whether he has a valuable item or not. You need that crystal.
Yeah, I would agree on this situation. And it looks like MrAaron is going to go through the Death Mountain, as Couch 23 is going to make their way to finish up the dungeon and get their fight with the big Helmasaur, which is a very clean tunnel room, by the way.
Yes, very nice. Link to the Past Ken pointing out that Couch has in fact found both the map and the compass, so both Helmasaur and the big chest will both have items. I don't think there's any particular advantage to doing either one in any particular order in that case.
Yeah, especially if you want to get those checks out the way. Some good uses of the hammer smacks and just a few swipes of the tempered sword, down goes Helm Sword.
And Couch heading back into the dungeon, not going to leave that item behind.
I would do so. I would do the same thing in this case. It's too early to calling go mode to start gambling items off at this point. So it'll make a lot of sense to just get it out the way right now.
Yeah, your minimum 4 items from go mode, possibly 5 if that quake is required. You can't afford to be making any big risky skips quite yet.
And it looks like our friend is gonna do some hammer jump sequences. Let's see if he sticks to landing. And manages to do so and gets 1 rupee for his efforts. You know, now that our chat is mentioning it, it feels like both of our runners are doing very well execution-wise.
Yeah, Couch had a little bit of trouble with his dash turns, spent some time there in Hookshot Cave, but other than that, yeah, first try hammer jump, nothing wrong with that.
First time bomb jumping over the Tower of Terror as well. When we look back onto this run.
Yep, that's a risky bomb jump. A lot of folks won't bother attempting it, just knowing that if you do screw it up, you're climbing up 2 sets of stairs to get back to where you were.
Yeah, you have to take the walk of shame, and probably even longer as well, because you still need to get that chest. Pulls up his assignments, and I'm pretty sure he's swearing right now, but he does his bomb jump first try, gets his B, easy as pie.
Yep, using those boot strats, which just gives you an extra pixel or 2 of breathing room on what is otherwise a pixel perfect bomb jump.
And that's one of the many benefits of having the boots, besides being able to transition from screen to screen really, really fast. As Couch is in his Armo's Rave Room fight, and it looks like he's setting up for the quick kill. Ends up missing one of the Armos, unfortunately, so they're going to have to fight out the last one in their red state, and that's the end of that, as both runners, as I was commentating on that, both runners seem to finish off their respective bosses and getting their respective crystals from 2 different dungeons.
Yep, and it'll be interesting to see where Couch goes from here. He's opting for a save and quit.
With Bombos, I feel like if he's playing at this rate, I would not be wrong. I would not be mad at him if he goes to Ice Palace and try to see what's in there. But I don't think there's any other dungeons that he could potentially go to that'll open up anything else up.
Yep. Well, he hasn't done his Thieves Town yet, so that would be the obvious move. Both of our runners kind of covering each other's tracks here, and that was a vanilla cape there in King's Tomb.
Yeah, Mr. Arnon pulled that up when he was doing the checks up here to go into Catfish, if I'm not mistaken. But speaking of covering each other's tracks, while our runners are doing so, please do give them a follow on their respective channels. They're doing a fantastic work of being able to play this seed out the way they doing right now. Also, do give a follow to our fellow employees doing the restreaming and tracking. Link to the past Ken doing the tracker work, as well as Vextopher doing the restreaming, as well as my fellow commentator who is putting up with my being very tolerant of my insolence, Ben. Thank you very much.
All I gotta say is, if I'm an employee, my first paycheck's a couple years late.
But yeah, do not forget that this is the GoMo Podcast Mentor Tournament 2021. GoMo Podcast is a podcast that talks the ins and outs of the Leak to the Past randomizer. They always be talking events that transpires around there and host events, as well as talk about a little bit of tips and tricks on it. So if you do wish to take a look at their site, which I'm dropping a link right now, you can see and tune into whatever they have for each of the weeks. They also got a bi-weekly seat that they throw out in their Discord channel that you can participate in with the topics they talked about in the podcast, which you can feel free to join in with us and take on that bi-weekly seed to see how you square up with everyone else.
Yep, absolutely. If you're new to the game, running async seeds like that is a great casual, low pressure way to just kind of get your bearings, see where you're at, see what you might need to improve on, and compare notes with other runner. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, even though we're doing the mentor tournament now, we're in the last set of phases of it. Learning never stops from here, and that is the fantastic. That is why speedrunning is fantastic. You always got the time to learn some stuff.
And MrAaronSnerd heading left. Couch, when he was up here, poked his head into this spike cave, but wound up saving and quitting, realizing he didn't have an invincibility item at the time and didn't have enough hearts to brute force it. But Aaron has that cape. He's going to be able to see if this is something important. Could be huge for him if it is.
Yeah, just some bombs. Go figure.
Yep. So far, our runners getting little advantages on one another here and there, just by virtue of the order in which they decide to route things. But haven't seen any big orphan skips punish them really hard one way or another. So definitely the potential to continue to be a relatively close race so far.
So it just came to realization. After Couch finishes Thieves Town, they don't really have much else to go to besides the Skull Woods. I feel like our runners need to start going under the assumption that a progression item is either in Ice Palace or Swamp Palace.
Yeah, we haven't seen Smith Chain yet either, and Couch will be in a position to do it coming out of here with to do it rather quickly and easily with Titans, Mirror, Boots, everything he needs to make that as quick and painless as it can be. He pretty much has.
You know, I could be completely wrong. You could just say, you know what, we're not going to go to Skull Woods. We're going to do this Blacksmith Chain and probably loop that into Swamp Palace. That would be the cleaner way of doing things.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't blame him if he decided to do the front of Skull Woods before committing to that, but we know from looking at MrAaronSnerd's side that that is not going to be the answer he's looking for. And Kesty Moen in chat pointing out he could also go Skull Woods, do Graveyard Ledge on the way to picking up Catfish, and then save and quit from there to potentially an Ice Palace play. Or rather, wouldn't even have to save and quit, could mirror from there and take the water portal and head to Ice Palace. So he's got a couple of options ahead of him coming out of this blind fight.
Meanwhile, MrAaronSnerd is doing their best to finish up pod. They're just going into the last phases, and more likely than not, they're going to end up fighting the big Helmsaur and then finishing up the rest of this dungeon along with Eastern Palace once they finish it up.
Yep, and it looks like Couch is going north, but he is bypassing Skull Woods, at least for the moment. He wants to see what is in the bumper cave. We know it's just going to be a shield.
Yeah, he's going to opt out and not going there, so he may end up doing the north part of the Dark World here to Catfish. And that is if you're going up here to check Bumper Cave while skipping Skull Woods, this will be the thing that you're intending on doing. So let's see what he comes up with once he gets to Ice Palace, if that is the case. If he decides to go to Ice Palace after Catfish. He could orphan Catfish altogether, though. I could be completely wrong in that regard.
Yeah, I feel like if you've come all this way, you go ahead and continue on to Catfish. You've decided which way you're going. You probably want to stick to it.
Taking a oopsie daisy bonk. Meanwhile, MrAaronSnerd gets into Helmsaur's grill after breaking that mask and dispatches him off very quickly. And wait, what?
Yep, and proven me wrong. It looks like Couch has decided the front of Skull Woods is going to be the play. So turn back around, hard orphaning Catfish at this point.
Yeah, this is an interesting decision. I wonder if he doubled back to here, realizing that he could be doing this instead of Catfish. Which would be understandable. There is a lot of chests and Skull Woods you can go through, especially the front part, to make it look for it to be looking like appeasable, appealing at the very least. Excuse me, I'm tongue-tied. But yeah, this is a very on the flip script decision here, as he's probably going to go through this. Meanwhile, MrAaronSnerd does his first bomb jump. Well, not first bomb jump, but his hammer jump successfully. First try, didn't break a sweat.
Yep, and I'd forgotten that that ether medallion was in the front of Skull, so this could still wind up being a valuable play if that 1 in 3 chance winds up making that the entrance requirement to Misery Mire, but it will be a while before we learn that answer.
Nah, excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back.
And folks in chat pointing out that Couch could be planning to do that Smith chain south after this. Wouldn't be a terrible play. It's just the big question mark of leaving Catfish behind that makes you wonder about this. But taking Smith chain, that kicks you out right by Swamp Palace, and a vanilla hook shot in there could make that the play. And yes, indeed, that does appear to be Couch's plan at this point. And Couch, now having finished that Thieves' Town, is pretty commandingly ahead of MrAaronSnerd at this point. Aaron's going to need to make some plays if he wants to close this gap. And this is our first new check in a little bit at this point. And that's a flute there in hammer pegs. So that's at least one piece of required progression here. Potentially opening the way to Misery Mire. Meanwhile, Aaron has finished out his Eastern Palace.
I have returned. Judging by the streams, I feel like seemed like MrAaronSnerd passed up on the blacksmith chain.
Well, that may be where he is going from here, but the blacksmith chain does turn out to be the answer, as we did find a flute there in hammer pegs.
Oh, wow.
So Couch is turning that in as we speak, as, yeah, Aaron actually not too far behind him. Looks like he is making that same play at this point.
Yeah, hopefully they'll not get outdone. They're kind of in the state neck and neck in a way, but the Couch, well, no, wait. Couch should have finished Thieves Town at this point. I'm reading the tracker wrong.
Yeah, Couch has indeed finished Thieves Town.
We get a mushroom.
Well, you just got the flute. It's not going to take long.
Give us the shovel! Come on, make this take longer.
And Link to the Past Ken pointing out that our Green Pendant Desert Palace is also an option with that flute in tow. So a play to Mire area might well be the most attractive option here.
Dip into Mire. Well, not really dip into Mire, but at the very least go into Desert Palace, see what they got in there, as well as do the outer checks of Mire. So yeah, this is par for the course.
Yep, you've got those two practically free checks in Mire Shed. You've got at least the information, and we will need a Quake for Mire. That's valuable knowledge to have. And it also feels real good not to have to worry, like, oh, should I go inside Mire without Red Cane? Hey, guess what? You can't. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. But you know what you should worry about? Quake being on pedestal.
It's a possibility.
As we get from Checkerboard Cave, just only triple bombs. Don't need to worry about that for now. Time to dip into Desert Palace since you are already here. It makes no sense. You have boots. You have Titan's mitts, no less. You might as well go ahead and grab that.
Yep, it is fully clearable. Don't have to worry about that coin flip of whether it's boots locked. You've got the boots, and it's 3 items counting what's hidden behind the green pendant.
Hopefully our runners are hoping for hopefully for the rest of their progression in this dungeon dip. This green pendant dungeon dip. But actually, you know what? This green dip doesn't taste all that bad. I'll be honest. Good amount of progression. It was already next to a crystal. So you can just get this out the way. It's pretty quick to do. No complaints here. On my end, at least.
Yeah, it's a pretty fast dungeon, especially with boots. You might as well knock it out. Your other option being a hook-shotless trip into Swamp Palace. You're already right here. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and do it.
Well, let's not forget that they do have Titan's mints now, and some flippers, and bombos. Ice Palace could be the deciding factor as well. So that's another option to weigh in if you really, really hate this seed.
Yeah, it's an option. I would consider it a bit of a gamble, especially with no red cane to icebreaker and make it a little quicker. You could do it, or you could just find your fire rod right there in the desert big chest.
Let's go. And Couch is deciding, you know what, we're here. That fire rod may be a thing that we needed desperately, but who is it to say that Sissy may have something stored for us in the Green Pendant Prize? Let's just go ahead and knock this out the park right now, which I believe this is a good idea to do.
Absolutely. You still need that hook shot. You now know that you need Quake. You're going to need that red cane. You don't want to be... And there are so few options left that, yeah, you don't want to be leaving checks behind.
I'm also still dreading the thought of Quake Medallion being locked in pedestal, by the way.
I mean... Here's the thing. The Quake could be, I believe the hookshot could be, depending on Ice Palace key layout. So yeah, we've got a couple items, a couple of options for the PED to wind up being necessary at this point.
I mean, if that was the case, could this seed at least give our boys the hook shot? Just please.
Well, the second item in Desert is just $50, but there is going to be a third one hiding behind that green pendant.
Meanwhile, not too far behind, MrAaronSnerd is playing catch. Well, not playing catch up. They're rounding the heels, and any other decision that they make could be the deciding factor of whether or not we have our progression. If he pulls up the lead, or if if Couch pulls up the lead. And what?
Ooh, that is unfortunate. Aaron fluting away, opting not to head into Desert.
Oh no. I wonder what he's...
Or did I just miss him going into Desert? Because
I don't think he went into Desert. I think he went into MrAaronSnerd's shed as well as MrAaronSnerd's shed as well as the checkerboard cave.
Okay, all right. He's heading into Skull Woods like he has Fire Rod. I think he just
okay.
I think he just skipped Landmos.
Okay. Oh, he did it too fast. He did. That would explain a lot of things. I blinked and they're done with Desert.
All right, and that green pendant just holding 10 arrows, so he will not be punished for skipping Landmos. He got what he needed out of Desert Palace, unless it's a ped seed.
Don't let this be a ped seed right now. They had to do AGA 1 for crying out loud. This seed wouldn't do that to them, right? Right?
Oh, don't talk to me about what RNGesus would and wouldn't do. He is a cruel and fickle god. You know this. And the fact is, Aaron is a little behind there. Here, he does need to make some skips if he wants to close this gap. So, in fact, that puts him, assuming that PED is not going to be required, that's now put him a little bit ahead of Couch here.
And that was a really impressive moth, rewarding him with the Samora Cane. That was probably the nicest moth I have ever seen throughout my entire career of speedrunning this game.
That was a very quick, efficient moth. And that red cane is going to open up Turtle Rock. That's a lot of checks. It is a pendant, but it's between that, a pendant Ice Palace, or a hookshotless swamp. It's a tempting offer at this point. Let's see what Aaron does.
It looks like he is going to the mountain, making the firm decision that Turtle Rock is the play, following the logic of the seed here.
Yep, it's It's what, 6 checks in the dungeon, plus 7 because of Mimic Cave, which he does have the mirror for. That's a whole lot of density.
Playing density-wise, this is an excellent play. So hopefully he'll come up with his items then. If not, then we know where to put our blame on the seed right now.
Meanwhile, Couch heading into his moth fight.
Getting a good, clean, quick kill on Mothula.
Yep, very RNG-dependent fight there. Even if you do everything right, it's entirely possible that it just doesn't go your way, but the Moth being pretty kind to both of our runners here today. Now let's see if Couch also follows that red cane into Turtle Rock. No, we are getting a bit more divergence here. Couch is heading into Ice Palace.
Oh man, let's go! These are the big boy plays, big boy decisions that you make on this kind of a seed. Plus, he's ahead by 1 game. He can afford a loss if it doesn't go well.
Yep, this is in this pretty close race. Ooh, and that was a book there in the first chest of Turtle Rock. That's convenient. You can go ahead and get that Hera tablet on your way out of here if you're not in go mode by then.
Our runners are just pulling out huge plays at the end of this run. Just amazing. Mr. Arnon realizing that he did not have the hook shot, so he literally waited to get around to doing the loop on this this fantastic I forgot what they call it. I don't know what they call it. But safe to say they needed to wait in order to get that. Get 2 small keys at the end of the end of that. So I guess the deeper dive continues.
Yep, he needed at least 1 to logically to progress. Turtle Rock, much like Pod, we like to call them the mullet dungeons. Business in the front, party in the back. They tend to have any progression buried pretty deeply.
We get a buttered sword on the hammer-locked side of Ice Palace.
Yep, and that's 2 out of our 3 items. That first chest was a heart container.
There's our big key. So we're gonna take a drop on this pit here. Hopefully the big key chest has something for us, right? No, of course not. Why wouldn't it be?
And there's the quake in the lava chest. So, yep, it is looking like Turtle Rock is definitely the play. Couch needs to find that hook shot here in ice, or he is pretty definitively behind at this point.
Man, if hook shot's in ice, I'm gonna throw this controller away. I can't have too many close calls here. My poor heart can't handle that kind of action.
I should say the hook shot needs to be either here in ice, or, say it with me, it could still be on Ped.
You're right. It could still be on Ped of all things.
Or, you know, it could be It could be over there hard orphaned on catfish.
Neither of our friends did catfish, did they?
They did not.
Wow.
Yeah, they've both hard orphaned it at this point.
Small key in the big chest, which is needed to get deeper into the dungeon of Turtle Rock.
Yep. And, hey, it's Roomy in chat, pointing out that if that Quake winds up being Couch's Go Mode item, he could save himself a little bit of time not having to do the back half of Turtle Rock here.
Quick, clean kill from the Swift Butter Sword, as the third item is unfortunately 20 rupees. Ends up getting another pendant for the troubles, though. I guess it's not all that bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, that Butter Sword is not going to save enough time to be worth an entire pendant dungeon full clear.
Unless Hookshot is pendant.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we are in the laser bridge room as we get a bee in a bottle for an item. The next chest is a small key, which will allow us to finish the rest of this dungeon. And we get some more bombs, and that is one more chest to get to. And it should be that hard to get to. It's a compass. So Trinex has an item for us. We just don't know what, and we hate that kind of thing happening. But you know what? That's okay. We got fire rod, we got ice rod, we have the means to beat him up, as well as a blue potion, no less. So I don't think Mr. ALTTPR is going to have any issues dealing with a little bit old Trinex.
Yep. Couch trying to put off that Turtle Rock play. He had to know he was gambling, avoiding it. Goes ahead and gets Spike Cave. That is not going to be the answer. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and do that Turtle Rock play. It's the play he needs to make, but he is, as of right now, that entire dungeon behind Aaron.
And given absolutely nothing, Trinex, thank you, I hate it. But we do get the red pendant. Though, if Couch finishes it, he did end up beating Desert Palace. Meaning that he could theoretically blind pool Pedestal. Makes you wonder if he's willing to do it or not.
Meanwhile, we're gonna take that book from the very front of T-Rock and see what the Hera tablet holds for us.
And from the heavenly skies descends 20 rupees. Thanks, gods. I can always use a little bit more money, I guess. Despite me having 780 of it.
Aaron's heading into Misery Mire. Not much reason to go anywhere else. It's only 2 items, but it is a crystal, and if you get real lucky, that Go Mode hookshot is right in there along your critical path.
Meanwhile, we have been raided with from another streamer. Hell, how you doing, guys? Welcome to the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament 2021. We're in the very heat of the action here with the second round between MrAaronSnerd and Couch23 as they go through what could potentially be the deciding factor of this game. If Hookshot comes up on MrAaronSnerd's side, he may have a shot of equalizing the race, or if Couch23 ends up finding it in the worst place ever I can ever imagine right now. He will end up taking the win, further progressing into the bracket.
Yes, indeed. We have had a pretty close race the whole way through. The lead changing places a couple of times. Right now, MrAaronSnerd appearing to be in the lead by virtue of Couch opting to full clear Ice Palace, which did not pay out for him. But we're still looking for that go mode hook shot.
It could be anywhere at this point, and I would not be surprised.
Yep, at this point we've seen the overworld minus Catfish, which both of our runners have hard orphaned at this point. We still have not seen the inside of Swamp Palace. We could have a vanilla hookshot for all we know, and it could still be hiding on the pedestal. So it's advantage AaronSnerd, but still anybody's game. Hey, it's Rumi speculating that whether Couch might peace out after finding that Quake medallion. I'd be very surprised, personally. That would be a big gamble.
Plus, he finished up Ice Palace. It is well within his intention to, at the very least, finish the rest of these pendant dungeons if that's the case. I feel like if you went that far and like YOLO dipping into Ice Palace, when you have Misery Mire available with the red K, you might as well be doing this. Well, I also forgot Quake was in Lava Chest Room, so they also had to come up here anyways to begin with. And a piece of heart of Misery Mire's big key chest. I think that was 2 items, right? No?
I did not see.
I kind of glossed over away from Misery Mire because I'm pretty sure he went through the cut. I know he went through cutscene chest, obviously. Didn't know if he went through the standard layer of going through the rest of the dungeon.
And apparently he skipped bridge chest up until this point. That's not the usual sequence of events, but he's certainly acting like he has another item left to find.
No, I think after unearthing that key, he probably is going to go ahead and beat the boss now, because he did open up the rest of these chests.
Yes, indeed. And with cape, boots, and tempered sword, should have a pretty easy time with Vitreous here.
Yeah, no issues whatsoever.
I did notice Aaron kicking up a little dust before dropping that red block. Looks like he may have set up a spooky glitch attempt here.
Excellent use of the Smart Cane by Couch, by the way. Throwing it over the crystal roller to hit the switch once more.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aaron was not able to pull off that spooky glitch. Might have forgotten to arm it. Might have accidentally disarmed it at any of a number of points here in Mire. In fact, come to think of it, I believe he used lamp to light one of those torches earlier in order to conserve some magic. Which, unfortunately, the lamp does disarm spooky glitch, so that would have been where he went wrong there.
Looks like Mr. Couch 23 is going to go ahead and take the emergency exit, which makes a lot of sense. Or not.
And Aaron says, Cape, what's that? I'm doing this the NMG way. And he is doing it just fine, taking down that big green eyeball.
Down goes Vinny, and we get 300 rupees. This narrows it down a lot more. Is Swamp Palace to play, or is pulling the pedestal to play? What will MrAaron do?
Well, if he wants to aim for that pedestal, he's going to have to go to Ice Palace first, which may very well look like a tempting offer for him at this point. And that would be good news if you're rooting for Couch.
It's also worth noting, I don't think they did Bombo's tablet either. So there could be, oh, yep, there they go. Into Ice Palace they go. Thus further equalizing the distance once more through decision making. But that is to say, it felt like both runners were neck and neck to begin with, regardless of where they were doing their checks or whatnot.
Meanwhile, Couch needs to be a little bit careful in the final phase of this Trinex fight. Has only 2 hearts to his name. Fairly sure he has safeties in his bottles. And yep, he's getting it ready. You're in Oko territory, man. If you're going to use it, now's the time. But he didn't need it. He's fine.
He just wanted to pull it out to taunt us with it. That's all that was. He wanted to showboat for us. Like, I had a blue potion. I could have used it at any time, but I choose not to.
Yep, and with Aaron back in ice, this is looking like a race again. Couch is going to have to go through Meyer, and they're going to be close to even again.
You know what I think he's going to do after this tablet check? I think he's just going to straight up blind pull on pedestal. He has all 3 pendants. I feel like he's just going to go, you know what, let's just go. Let's do this.
You know, I was about to say I'd be surprised to see him do it before Meyer, but Meyer has the potential to be so much faster if you go mode it. It wouldn't be a terrible idea to, like you say, just YOLO it. It doesn't cost you that much time if you're wrong, but potentially
come on,
saves you a
Couch,
bunch.
do it. Do it for the vine. Aww. He's opted in to go ahead and Misery Mire. Oh, well. Okay, you know, who knows? Maybe he'll do it after Misery Mire once it comes up with nothing.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're looking at spending a little bit of time for the one check on Ped versus a lot of time heading into Swamp Palace, so maybe.
I would have pulled the pedestal. I would have done it. But then again, I'm a little bit of on the crazy side, so.
Math guy in chat calling advantage still for Aaron, even with this Ice Palace clear, and I would tend to agree. Meyer, unfortunately, is a lengthy dungeon if you're full clearing, whereas Aaron is getting close to the end of his ice trek.
Yeah, he still had to beat Desert Palace, but MrAaron doesn't really need to do much for Desert Palace, thankfully enough, compared to full clear Misery Mire. So I feel like he still have a little bit of a head, to be honest.
Yep, chat pointing out Aaron does have the option to check Ped with that book before committing to the desert play. Although, in my opinion, as I recall, Landmo did have an item, plus there's the item behind the green pendant. That's 2 right there. I think you clear those first, and then blind check Ped. It's not going to change your decision making much.
None of them did the Bombo tablet as well, so there's another option.
Yep, there's that, there's Catfish, and then there's the Swamp play.
If I was playing density-wise, at this point, after finishing Ice Palace or MrAaronSnerd, I would definitely go to Swamp if I'm playing density-wise. If I'm playing the wild card route, as with Couch did, well, actually, no. Both of them did Ice Palace, so it's not really much of a wild card. But I would definitely blind pull that pedestal just to see if I can go mode it with it.
Yeah, if you're looking for the most effective tactic available, I think you go ahead and do that Bombos tablet and then into Swamp. Go ahead and route those together. But if you're feeling behind, you might feel like you have to gamble.
Oh, what is this? MrAaronSnerd is going into the Lost Woods. Looks like he is just going to go ahead and book check it with the book, which I feel like at this point you're going to eventually check it, especially if you cannot find that hook shot. But we'll see what we get from here as we get another bow.
The silver arrows.
Not the item you expect to come across with pulling on the pedestal, but I get Mr. ALTTTPR feels very relieved that he didn't have to do that, as he could definitely now go into Swamp Palace and go mode it, because there is no other way the hookshot can be anywhere else at this point besides Swamp Palace and its vanilla location, which is already disgusting, to be honest.
There's still catfish available.
Oh yeah, true. There is still catfish. I forgot they orphaned that. I keep forgetting that they orphaned that.
And there is Bombos tablet, but now if it's me, I'm doing Bombos tablet first, hoping to avoid a double dip. But
yeah, I agree. I would have done it as well.
And of course, from Aaron's perspective, there's also desert. The two items in desert, the one on Landmo and the one on Green Pendant, but he has opted to leave those behind, and he is sticking to his guns there.
Everyone coming up with some guts with the horrid fetch quest of Shovel being pedestal pulling. We're just a little we are some speed running gremlins right now.
All right, first check of Swamp Palace. Survey says trio of bombs.
Our dive continues into Swamp Palace. Oh wow, it looks like Couch 23 is going to do Swamp Palace as well, but are they going to do Swamp Palace first, or are they going to go check Bombos first?
They're doing something entirely different, and I'm not sure what.
Wait, isn't Red Crystal Swamp? No, Red Crystal is not Swamp.
Oh, okay. It looks like we had a bit of a misclick on the tracker.
That's okay. I mean, that's why our runners are making sure they do their own tracking as well, which is not a huge issue. But that does open up 2 more chests at the very least, so he is hoping to get that out the way before checking in the Swamp Palace, which had in the big key chest the red mail.
Yep, nice to have, but not what you want to see. And if this Pyramid Fairy play pays off, that is huge for Couch. It's a bloomerang and a piece of heart. Not today.
Still, they got the option of checking out Bombos as well. Well, they're already over here. What's keeping them from checking Catfish?
I was about to say absolutely nothing, but apparently something, because he's not doing it.
I feel like he's checking Bombos. He's going to check Bombos before Catfish. And to be honest, I feel like I can understand where the reasoning of not doing catfish now, but like, it all depends on if Bombos have hook shot. Will Bombos bail him out, or will he? Oh no, he's going into swamp.
Yeah, I gotta say I disagree with this play. If you have stayed out of swamp thus far, you gotta do catfish. You gotta do Bombos first. You gotta give yourself every chance to avoid this double dip.
All right, so does left side swamp, where all my homies hate left side swamp, has our hook shot? Chest number 1 says no. Where is the other one? We are going to check the second chest here. We gotta do it the long way around because we ain't got the hook shot to begin with. But let's see what chest number 2 has. As MrAaronSnerd is taking the fall to get into over this next chest, and we come up with a piece of heart. Bombos or catfish has our hook shot as he immediately mirrors away.
Yes, indeed.
And
he's okay. He's hopping back into his portal. He's realized, oh wait, I don't need to be in the light world right now.
Yeah, he's
doesn't
going
matter which way I'm going. It needs to be in the dark world.
Yeah, he's gonna check that Bombos talent, which he probably should have done right at the start before dipping into this to avoid double dipping into Swamp Palace. But coming from the heavens is a piece of a whole heart.
It was in catfish all along.
Catfish has our hook shot. Ain't that just a kick in the teeth?
At this point, both of our runners have to be feeling behind. This is a last location for both of them. They both had multiple chances to route this in. No, actually, it's not a last location for both of them. ALTTPR did, in fact, skip desert.
Meanwhile, MrAaronSnerd is taking their stroll into the big bomb. I'm gonna go through into the light world and come into the castle, taking that portal to get into the Dark Pyramid. I do believe both runners went into Spy Cave, so yeah, that's checked off the list of huge one-off checks that you will most likely gamble on leaving. Man, Couch is gonna go through all this too, and he's gonna be very, very disappointed about finding what items he's gonna come across in the left side swamp.
Ooh, and Aaron finally making that that desert play. It's not going to be the answer.
Yeah, like you read that the bow was on pedestal. I don't think was there any other item? I don't think so on Lamos.
I thought there was an item on Landmo. I mean, there's the
yeah.
There's the 10 arrows behind the green pendant.
Yeah, that's what it is. The green pendant. Man,
this is.
You would go into Desert Palace to get a green pendant instead of going into Catfish. That's how much our runners hate Catfish, apparently. It was just, we don't want no stinky fish today, especially after getting ripped off by Zora. So we're going to skip out on Catfish.
All right. Couch has come out of swamp. He's doing the Bombos tablet. I mean, he has to go to Catfish after this, right?
Yeah, I was going to say yes, he has to, because that's the only thing left. That is the only thing left. If there was any other check here, I'll be really mad at them for missing on that.
I mean, I suppose he does he does have all his pendants. He can go blind pull silvers. Commentators, he's going to a hard last location this.
Okay, to be fair, he already has the pendants. So you can't really blame him for doing all the work at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, given all the decisions, if you assume that you've already made all the decisions leading up to this point, this is a reasonable decision at this point. It's just not reasonable to reach this point.
Let's go!
So, right now, you got your silvers.
Don't worry, Aaron is not going to pull pedestal for silvers. He read it was on the pedestal with the book, so he already did that check there. He is going to.
Now I'm.
Oh no! I think they're. Oh no! You know what this long pause means? He probably don't know if he checked catfish or not.
Somebody's mistracked something, and by somebody I mean everybody.
Oh no! Oh no! This can only go downhill from here. It'll end in tears.
Very early on in this seed, they both went up to attempted to go to catfish, realizing too late that they were glove locked, and chat said this is a match of who can throw harder. We're about to find out who can throw harder. I'm sorry. We try. This is a learning tournament, and I'm sorry. I'm trying to be nice.
Okay.
I'm not laughing at. Okay, well, Couch remembered something that he'd forgotten, which was it wasn't the answer, but it was a check he hadn't done yet.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. This is a super niche situation to be in. But this is always why it's important to make sure if you're using the email tracker to always allow chess manipulation regardless of logic. So it can pop up and show you the red marker or whatever, or the green marker whenever you're checking off your items. Because this is one of those learning case scenarios where you do have to make sure you check all your appropriate areas.
Absolutely. And I want to be perfectly clear, but
what they're doing is not wrong, but the situation they're in is hilarious.
I'm not laughing at the mistake. I'm laughing at the fact that they've both made the same mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. There's no shame in it. We're all here to learn. It happens and it feels bad, but you just got to try to shake it off and do your best.
Oh my goodness. Couch is looking to... He's going over his checks now.
Yep. At this point, you're just going over checks. You're just trying to do something with your time, because you can see in race time, the other guy hasn't finished. Until that done comes in, you've got a chance. But it is looking like Aaron has remembered first what he has left to do.
And Couch 23 already checking K45, picking it up for the clarity of checking it off. Yeah, I feel like I need to tell both of them to always remember to enable checking their chest despite logic. It's one of those things that you don't really think you need to do, and you end up in a situation like this.
Yep, and there it is, the hook shot. At 1 hour, 47 minutes and change, MrAaronSnerd enters go mode.
Oh man, I never thought this is you have like it has to be one of those moments where you think everything is fine, so you don't think about it, and then this happens. But yeah, I feel like this was on the end of like not checking a thing or leaving a check mark checked because you thought you already did it. But yeah, this is definitely an information oopsie daisy here.
Yep, it can be as easy as a misclick on the tracker. You know, maybe you screw up and you click catfish as checked when you meant to make that same click on the Zora area. Maybe you're not using a map tracker at all. Not every runner does. I mean, mistakes happen. It's unfortunate when it happens during a restream, during a very high profile moment, but it does happen to all of us. You will never get so good at this game that you will never make a mistake. So you just gotta try to take it in good humor. That's all you can do.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be doing a ladder match of kind of this caliber, like I did, doing very well up until the point where I didn't realize I forgot to check something in Desert Palace, and I was there for like 3 hours. And the moment I came back to Desert Palace to check, I had to forfeit it because I knew my opponent finished, because I was like, this is very shameful of me. But it is a very good humiliation to really take into consider when you think about it, because it makes you learn like, oh, I need to just understand that I need to keep this into consideration. As MrAaronSnerd doing a fantastic job of doing diver down. He is not going to pick up any checks anymore because he's already in go mode.
Yep, and he this is one of the most nerve-wracking situations in racing where you feel like you have to be behind, and yet your opponent hasn't finished yet, and you know that if they haven't finished by now, they must have made some mistakes too. So any little second that you take could be what costs you the race.
While our runners are going into panic mode throughout this with the rest of the seed, do give them a follow on their respective channels for not only showing us how fantastic they did on the first part of the seed, but showing us in light of if you have some sort of error in there as far as tracking goes, this has to be one good lesson to learn at this point.
And that was a beautiful quick kill on Argus. Certainly nobody would blame Aaron if he had some execution problems at this point, just from sheer nerves, if nothing else. But he's playing like he's cool as a cucumber. His execution in this final stage is excellent.
And while Aaron is going into Ganon Sour, we should play some number guessing game of where the big key could be in.
Yes, indeed. There are 22 spots where it could possibly be hiding.
And if you guess right, you win some internet points. And I do believe everyone loves internet points in this day and age. You could probably turn that in for some good old-fashioned clout points, I guess.
Maybe. You can take those real, genuine, fake internet points and exchange them for imaginary cash and prizes anywhere that accepts real, genuine, fake internet points.
So what do you think the big key will be in?
With everything else this seed has thrown at our runners, as much as I want it to be just right there in Hope Room, I mean, it's got to be Tile Room, right?
We're not pulling punches here today because I feel like Tile Room is the case. But actually, you know what? No, it's in Bob's chest, very back end. But I'm guessing going to assume that's like 1, 2, 3. I want to say that's chest number 18, Bob's chest.
Depends whether you do right side first or not, but yeah, if you've done right side, I believe yes, 18.
And bettings are closed, ladies and gentlemen.
Now the question is, if you're in Aaron's shoes, do you do the big gamble and do tile room first? Figuring you've got to be behind. Okay, apparently you don't, and rightly so.
I was gonna say YOLO it, and just do it. Your opponent has yet to finish. You might as well just do it for style points, but nah, it's never a good idea to do tile room. Even if you did get a key from there. 10 more arrows. Finishing up the staffhouses to open up the room, as 20 rupees is in the last chest in the third mission room. Our dive continues.
Yep, that's 7 and no luck yet.
Let's see where these fire bars are going to give for us today. Even more money.
Yeah, there's not much more interesting than that could still be found. As far as convenience items, I guess half magic's still in the pool, but that's about it.
Half magic shovel. Half magic and shovel, unless Matt Shovel has half magic. That would be silly though.
Which, I mean, at this point, why wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Couch 23 is not really sure what he is missing, and it's now taking the time to double loop around certain areas to see where he had missed.
Yep, I can guarantee you that has happened to everybody here, and if it hasn't, that just means you haven't played enough Rando yet.
Exactly. Nothing in the Rando room, which is 4 more chests, so our dive continues. Very excellent bonk there, right there. Being able to get over the tile like that to skip a transition.
Yep, always a fun little piece of tech.
Yeah, just 5 arrows. Time to go into Armos 2, the ice rave party, where you rave in the ice skating ring.
Yep, Aaron did not pull that pedestal, so he's going to have to do this with regular old boring wooden arrows.
Yeah, he decided not to pull from the pedestal, let alone... Well, no, he did finish Desert Palace, so...
Yeah, and you know what? I think the time that it would have taken to go collect that, you pretty much gain back in the Ganon fight anyway, so wouldn't have been a terrible decision to do, but Aaron decided not to.
Unfortunately, left side was not the answer, but I was off on the boff chest thing, so... But they didn't do the right side, so let's hopefully chest 18 from here will give up the...
I'm still holding out hope for the meme. Let's see a tile room big key. And meanwhile, Couch is seems to have...
He's probably marking these off because his he can't auto track manually. That's the only reason why I think he's picking these up. There's our big key.
Ooh, not tile room today, but the next best thing.
That is 21.
Yep, that is blackjack, ladies and germs. And yep, Couch is doing the only thing you can do in this situation. Go and check things that you've already marked off. Hope that if nothing else, something that you do jogs something in your memory.
I think he's doing these checks and he's waiting for Mr. Aaron to finish the race, because I wouldn't linger any longer if I see my opponent finished after messing up a check, a check afterwards like this. Like, that's the worst part. The moment they got into Dark World, Hookshot was right there from the get-go when you think about it.
Yep, all you had to do was go get that glove first and then route Catfish in with your flipper checks, but... Aaron making short work of the Stalfos in these first couple rooms of the gauntlet here. Not afraid of taking damage. He's got got 19 hearts and red mail.
Yo, dude is kitted out like a special operator right now. Special ops. The Hyrule Order Special Ops Forces.
Having a little bit of trouble with that Landmo 2 here. Whiffing a couple of fire rod shots. He's going to need to be a little careful with his magic from here on out. Although, I haven't been paying close attention to what's in his bottles.
You know, half magic probably would be in Swamp Palace. It did pass up the chest. He did pass up the 2 chests, the 3 chests there.
Yep, it could also be in Hookshot Cave.
Oh my goodness. I had completely written off Hookshot Cave being a thing at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no reason to go in there at this point. Unless you can hover, but even then, you know it's not going to have Hookshot.
Getting near to the final part of the climb. There we go. There's the sound that you need to wait on, because if you come up here, while that door is closing, you despawn everything in this dungeon, thus locking you out of it unless you know, like, reset it completely.
Yep, you'd have to mirror out, leave, come back, and that would just be the final insult at this point. Aaron's grabbing his last little refill here. He has 3 boss fights separating him and victory.
Thankfully, for the Golden Sword, it makes quick work of at least 2 of the 3 fights for the most part.
Yep, Moldorm 2 goes down. No Trolldorm falls today. Well, misses the hookshot clip, but
I'll be honest, I could forgive him from that one, because he is not having a hook shot this entire seed up until now.
Yep. Heading into Aga 2, one of the more annoying boss fights of the game, insofar as it's very RNG dependent, getting some difficult patterns right off the bat, and there's just no real way to practice it.
Gets an impressive double though. Playing a little bit of the pool geometry here. Just gotta make sure to slide those blues into the quarter pockets.
Yep, and oh, look at that! Finally, that nice easy setup for a triple there after some very rude patterns.
Down goes Aga 2. Time for the big man himself. MrAaronSnerd is a few minutes away from finishing up this seed.
We've got a Buttersword Silverless Ganon fight here today. Shouldn't be too much trouble. Plenty of hearts, red mail. About the only way to screw this up would be running out of magic. Yep, Aaron getting that easy Buttersword 1-on-1 in the first phase. Not a problem. Pulling out the lamp. He does not want to miss that torch glitch. Let's just have a nice, quick, easy Ganon fight. Yep, taking no chances, spamming that lamp. Gets the torch glitch.
Gonna get some triple spins on this one.
Yep, he's pulling out that fire rod. Nice, makes that... Ooh, well, would have been a triple if not for that unfortunate bat hit, but... Not a problem.
Yeah, especially since you're on red mail, you don't have to worry about anything right now.
Yep. Magic management is the name of the game at this point. You don't need to worry about your health. And down goes the pig. MrAaronSnerd has but to cross this bridge. And he does it, finishing with an official race time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 19 seconds. We're going to a game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
An excellent job. At the very least, sticking through with that seed and making sure they gotten to Catfish before all of this. Like, I feel like this was a weird seed how the way they were able to get into Catfish without gloves. And the moment they did get it, they just didn't really do it at all.
Yep, and I see we do have Couch 23 and MrAaronSnerd waiting in the green room. Let's see if we can get them pulled up here for an interview. Welcome, gentlemen. What is there to say?
Catfish, you're my friend.
Yeah, I was like, it's really easy to forget about Catfish the moment you don't have gloves and you just forget about it. But like, it was really baffling to just see both of y'all avoid it like the plague.
Oh, when I stopped,
I thought I had done it.
Oh, I stopped and I was like, "Oh my god, what did I forget? There's one thing in this game. There's one thing left." And then I go, I'm dead. There's no way. Nope, we're done. That's it.
But yeah, I was looking at it, I was like, when y'all did that long pause in the map screen, I was like, you know what I think they did? I think they didn't took a look at their maps, their map checks on the tracker. I'm not sure how y'all set up your trackers, but the map tracker is a godsend for a reason, like for a lot of reasons, and this will be one of them.
Yeah, so honestly, it was the fact that when I got the glove, I didn't even, it just got put off so long, and I just, instead of doing it with the flipper checks, I just did the flipper checks, but that completely isolated it, so that was bad, very bad.
But yeah, if either of y'all using Emo Tracker, do not be afraid to use the map tracker part of for the game, as well as allow chess manipulation regardless of logic, because that can help you out a lot in marking off things where you have already checked before.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
So what happened with me is I had gone up there without gloves, and then I was like, wait a minute, I can't even get up here. And then I just kind of wrote it off because I was like, oh, okay, I already went up there and did it. So like the whole time I'm wandering around, I was like, oh, I already checked Catfish. I don't need to worry about Catfish. So I just start diving into everything else. So
To be fair, I was in the same situation like that in a ladder match, so I could understand that line of thinking really fast.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is there's going to be another race tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah.
Pretty
This is gonna
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good game 3. I feel like. This would be,
Okay, so funny enough, both of y'all were neck and neck until I believe, I want to say near the end of it. Couch, you went into Ice Palace immediately after you got into Samora King, while MrAaronSnerd went into Turtle Rock. And that huge divergence was just like huge plays all around.
yeah.
Until we realized that Catfish had the hook shot.
Yeah. It was even worse was I actually mismarked a red crystal, and I was like, oh my god, it's in Pyramid Fairy. If it's in Pyramid Fairy, that's it. Game over. And I was scared. For sure.
Yeah, y'all went through that seed up until before that point at the very least very, very well. So y'all can at least chalk it up to like doing good execution as well as like map routing out, doing your routes very well.
I'll take it. Instead of the whole being a dingus part. I think I'll write that one off.
I don't think I have any other questions for our runners. I think they suffered long enough with this seed. Do you happen to have any questions yourself, Ben?
I mean, we've talked about the elephant in the room. Gee, good on you both for sticking it out. As I said to chat, if you have not been in that exact same situation of misclicking something or making one skip or one mistake like that, then it just means you haven't played enough of this game yet. So good on you for sticking it out and putting on a show for us.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Everyone enjoyed that a lot. Like even before y'all went to Ice Palace and Turtle Rock, everyone was going, it has to be on Catfish. It just depends on who throws this game harder by avoiding it. I wrote off Hookshot being on pedestal. Everyone else went for the Catfish play. But it seems like that will do it for this fantastic session and fantastic match of Go Mode's podcast, Link to the Past randomized tournament, Mentor Tournament 2021. Do give our runners a follow on their respective channels. They did a fantastic job of not only showing us the proudness of that they learned, but also showing us that you can still have the sort of mistakes that you can still do and still somehow manage to get through it all through the end. Do give a follow to our tracker, Link to the Pastken, for tracking the gang, keeping us informed of all the action through that fantastic window of tracking those buttons, as well as our Restreamer, Vextopher, who decided to take up in our arms into leading into Restream this fantastic match for us. And last but not least, give a follow to my best co-commentator along with me, who sat through here and laughed and cried.
I heard that F. You can say friend. It's okay. My friend.
Fantastic associate. No, I'm just kidding. You're still a good friend commentator to be with. So I am very blessed to have you with me go along this wild ride that we have embarked on today.
Excellent. Well, as we close out the stream, thank you to everybody behind the scenes at the Go Mode podcast who makes it all possible. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.
Have a good night.